Stability testing is not just about quality. It's about legal compliance too. In the EU, stability testing is a requirement for your product information file. In the US, while not explicitly required, it is considered as part of your responsibility to ensure product safety. So in this video, I will break down why stability testing is important, what type of testing belongs to the stability testing, and how you can do it DIY, even on a startup budget. What does stability testing matter? Because it will give you the confidence to set a real expiration date on your product and avoid unhappy consumers by answering the following questions. Will the color, the texture, the odor of my product change over time? Will my product keep its performance and efficacy? Will it stay compatible with the packaging during its shelf life? Because without proper stability testing, you risk product separation or degradation, microbial contamination, potential safety issues, damage to your brand and reputation. So there are several types of stability tests that you should consider. What is called the real-time long-term stability. Here, your product needs to be stored at room temperature. You should let your product run for its full intended shelf life, like 24, 36 months usually. It is the most accurate stability testing, but it takes the longest and it requires for a final shelf life determination. Another type of test is the accelerated stability test. Here your product needs to be stored at higher temperatures, usually 40 degrees. This higher temperature will mimic the aging of your product. You usually run this stability test for 3 to 6 months. So yes, it helps to predict long-term stability of your product more quickly. It's a good indicator for a first initial screening. The next step is called the freeze-thaw cycling. It's where you alternate the freezing condition with the thawing condition. Usually it takes 3 to 5 cycles of 48 hours each, and these stability tests ensure that your product is resistant to temperature fluctuations during shipping. The next step is about light stability, because in your formulation you may have ingredients that can be light sensitive. So here we expose your product to natural light and UV lights. And finally, the compatibility testing is when you test your product, the formulation, with the packaging. You don't want the packaging to leak into your product or degrade it, or the packaging to absorb your product. This is essential to ensure packaging integrity. So now let's see step by step a DIY approach of stability testing. It is not a replacement for professional testing, but it is a valuable screening tool during the development of your project. So what you will need? You will need multiple samples in their final packaging, some extra sample in clear containers, a temperature control environment, detailed observations sheets, camera for documentation, a pH meter if necessary, and a viscosity measurement tool if necessary also. Step 1. Prepare your sample. Fill the glass containers with your product. Label all containers with the date and the conditions that you will apply on them. Take initial pictures and measurements because you want to compare what you would see with the initial condition at day 0. Step 2. Choose your storage condition. So we said room temperatures between 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, elevated temperature between 37 to 45 degrees, cold temperatures 4 degrees usually in your refrigerator, high humidity versus relative humidity, usually high humidity 75% of room humidity, one set of natural light to expose your product, one set of dark storage for your product, and if you have a UV set also, put it in place. Step 3. Set your tasting schedule. So D0 is the initial assessment, and then you will have to check your product at different time points, 7 days, 14, 30 days, 60, 90 days. Step 4. Well, observe and record. At each time point, check for the appearance of the product, color, texture, separation, sediments, the odor, the pH, especially water-based products, the viscosity of the product, is it thinner, is it thicker, any sign of contamination, and package integrity. Is there any leakage or deformation of the packaging? Remember to take pictures under a consistent lighting. Always use the same descriptive terminology and not even the minor changes. Step 5. Analyze the results. If your product is stable, great. If you noticed any change in your formulation, you may need to tweak the formula, the packaging, or maybe the preservatives. Use a simple spreadsheet to track everything. That will give you an idea of how your product behave over time. But when should you invest in professional stability testing methods? Well, before manufacturing. Professional stability testing is essential before your first production run, because those testing labs will provide with standardized protocols, control a very accurate control environment, precise measurements, proper microbial testing based on international standards, and comprehensive documentation for your PIF. What to provide to those professionals? Well, your your product in the final packaging, all the information that you have regarding your formula, specific concerns that they should monitor based on what you know about your formula, any previous stability data that you may have performed yourself. How to find these testing labs? Well, you can ask your formulator for recommendations. They'll probably work with some. Check with industry associations. And by the way, I'm currently developing a web app that will help you to filter labs depending on your current needs during your cosmetic development journey. If you want to know before anyone else when I will launch it, join the waiting list with the link that I will put in the description, or you will find it also on my website, cosmeticlab.com. Stability testing is not the only safety testing that is required by European regulation to pass the exam. Check out this video to learn more about the others.